But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
You did. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That is right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back, boys and girls, to the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. Today is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. It's episode 139. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago in the United States. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto, Canada. Everett, happy late birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
Happy late birthday. How are your celebrations on Saturday night?
Oh, those were deadly. They were deadly. It was supposed to be kind of a low-key affair.
Yeah, and that's how they all start, eh?
I think it was for pretty much everyone else. And I mean, it started off as like a really nice day. Sam and I went on like a little bar hop. So we went to some of the best cocktail bars, not only in the city, but in Canada. And just kind of perused down. We started at my favorite ramen place too. Got some ramen, crushed that. If you're ever in Toronto, or people in Toronto know, Ramen Ishin is like there's Japanese people being like, I've had ramen in Japan, it wasn't as good. So yeah, Ramen Ishin is
praise.
Oh, it's the spot. And the problem is it's the first ramen I ever had, so it's just ruined me forever. My bar is high. And then yeah, we just hit a bunch of cocktail bars. So, and we started early, like we left to go to ramen at like 3. And at like 8 o'clock, we went to a bar to meet all my friends, and I'd had a few cocktails and it was a good night, but all of my friends decided to have a shot with me, which is great because each of them was just having a few beers and a shot, but separately? I was having, yes, basically. And so I ended up having way too many shots. And thankfully, my friend Sean decided to drive me home because I was not in a good state. And Sunday, I was a wreck. I was not fun at all.
Sunday was your actual birthday, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I texted you on Sunday and I don't think I heard from you for probably about 24 hours. You're like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I lost my phone during the celebrations on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, it may have been in my fanny pack, and I may have left it in Sean's car.
Well.
But honestly, it was kind of nice because I didn't have it, and I just got to recover, and I just sat on my couch or laid on my couch and had my laptop on me and watched SuperLega games.
Cool. Watched a little volley on Sunday. I was at a very different sporting event. I was at Bears at Packers at Lambeau Field, which is unbelievable. So I didn't get to watch that much volley on Sunday, but we still got a lot to talk about.
Wait. Did you guys win?
We did not. No.
Rob,
now
you talk too much shit for you guys to be losing to the Bears.
Now there's context. There's context. All right. There's context. We were the game didn't matter for the Packers. We clinched the playoffs. It was the last game of the regular season. We played our best running back for 1 quarter and then sat him. Jordan Love hurt his elbow, not seriously, but he sat out of precaution. And then one of our wide receivers, Christian Watson, tore his ACL in the first quarter. And when that happened, the mood very much changed to like, all right, let's relax here and get ready for the playoffs. We did lose at the last second. It was a great day. It was a very fun time. The caliber of football was not very high because the Bears are hot garbage. If it were against any other team, I wouldn't be worried about it at all, but I am pissed off because I hate the Bears and I hate losing to them. So there's that. It was a very fun experience, though. Shout out to my volleyball buddy, Phil, who has the season tickets for generations and brought a group of us up there.
Love that.
Very, very good times. Speaking of the United States, Everett, that's where I want to start. I've got the shirt on. This is a familiar shirt to you, right? You've worn this on a number of occasions.
Yeah, fuck.
Speaking of the United States and the United States national team, we got some news. It has been decided who the next United States women's national volleyball team coach will be. It will be none other than Erik Sullivan, coming from the associate head coach spot at the University of Texas. He's got a long USA history. He's served in the role is called team leader. He's done that for the USA men over the past several years. He was actually the first ever USA national team libero in the 2000 and 2004 Olympics. Right after that position was created, he won national championships in college at UCLA. And he's been at Texas, I believe, since 2017. So it's been like 2 full Olympic cycles that he's been coached in the women's game at the NCAA level. I've met Erik once briefly. I think I chatted with him at VNL in Ottawa 2 years ago and had a great time talking to him very briefly. I like this hire. The thing that people are going to need to understand, that people are kind of upset that we didn't get a bigger name in women's volleyball coaching, is that that's never going to happen. The USA Volleyball will never and can never pull like one of the top 5 women's NCAA head coaches to coach the national team. That's never going to happen. And all you have to do is do the math on their salaries and know that that's never going to happen. So knowing that that's never going to happen, I think that Erik Sullivan is an excellent hire.
I fully agree. Look, I didn't know who he was, right? When you messaged me to say that there a hire was made.
This was yesterday, by the way.
This was yesterday. I had to stop what I was doing because I wasn't really expecting this quickly. And I had to do some research because I didn't know that name. And yet, in a way, he might be one of like the most accomplished people I've never heard of in volleyball. Like you look at his resume, he's won 2 national championships at the NCAA level, was an All-American, was a captain for his last national championship. As a player, he was a co-captain for the first Olympics that he went to. Like you said, he was the first ever libero. Is a 2-time Olympian. Has coached for many years at Colorado and Nebraska, and then spent past 15 seasons at Texas. And I was very interested to see what the reactions were going to be, and just to see kind of what people were going to be saying about him. And it seemed as though there was no one who was. It seemed that everyone who knew him or knew of him was very happy for the hire, and it seems like a lot of the athletes on the team are very happy for the hire. I think you have some dummies out there who are, like you said, asking where some of the big names are.
Why don't you hire John Cook? Why don't you hire Jarrett Elliott? Why don't you hire like that? Guys, you do the math. All these coaches who are head coaches at public NCAA universities, their salaries are public record. You can go and Google them and find out how much money they make.
These guys are making like $300K a year.
They're making more. They're making much more than that, because actually, we can talk about this. I looked this up. This is public information. There's no reason to dance around it. Erik Sullivan, as the associate head coach at the University of Texas, was making $138,000 USD a year. Okay. Karch Kirai, as the head coach of the women's national team, when the salary was last reported 2 years ago, and Karch made more than Spara because Karch was full-time with the women and Spara was part-time with the men. Karch's salary 2 years ago as the head coach of the women was $398,000 USD a year. That is a big-time salary. And that is a huge, it's more than double what Erik Sullivan is making right now if he gets anywhere close to that with this new job, new promotion. So congratulations to him, obviously.
Yeah.
But what the NCAA coaches are making at the highest levels are more like what Spara's new salary is as the CEO as UFC Volleyball, which is like in the $600,000 range plus. So you're just not going to pull those people. You're just not going to. And I think that USAV really wanted somebody with international experience who's been around international volleyball on either side in some like pretty legit capacity. And Erik Sullivan does definitely check that box.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely does, especially with his involvement with the men's team. And it's one of those things that, like, as I was going through the motions of, doing my research and kind of figuring out who he was, I started seeing and looking up pictures to make a post. Once I started seeing that kind of stuff, I was just like, oh, I've 100% seen this guy around. Like, he's just kind of one of those guys that seems to be always hanging around the men's team. And, we've been very privileged to spend a lot of time with the USA men's team over the past little bit. So, I think that this is going to be a good hire. I do question, however, you are going in and hiring someone in terms of the volleyball world, in terms of stature, like, I don't know if there's a bigger job in the world than the USA women's head coaching job, right? Like, that is all eyes are on you in so many ways, and from everywhere, and especially when you're coming in now, and you're coming in after arguably the best coach ever in the program is moving on, who's not arguably the biggest name in the sport, right? Like you are stepping into the footsteps of absolute giants, and you've picked a person who has never been a head coach, right? Other than a few junior teams at the beginning of the 2010s, right? He's been associate head coach for a long time, but he's never been the head coach of a program. Do you think that is a risk?
Risk, I'm not sure. It's definitely a fair thing to point out, that like being the head coach and being the leader of a program like that is different. The nice thing is that he is going to be in complete lockstep with Karch, because you don't think the Karch won't still be around, and he can't like still bounce some ideas off of him as far as the women go, and they share a training gym and center anyway. Like there's going to be plenty of overlap. And of course with John Speraw, it's one of the best things that we've been saying about the Speraw hire for CEO since it happened, is that there can be so much hands-on communication and collaboration in how to strategize the national team process. The other nice thing is maybe there are some kinks to work out about Erik Sullivan being a head coach for the first time. This is the time to do so. We're already qualified for the LA Olympics, so he has a lot of bandwidth, a lot of latitude to figure it out and put a program together. Like this is a good point to remind all American fans, and I've been saying this mostly about the men, but it definitely applies to the women too. Temper your expectations as far as national team results for the next 2 summers, okay? Relax. Do not freak out about national team results for the next 2 summers. We are already qualified for the Olympics. We have a world championship coming up this year. We have no idea how many of our Olympic caliber players are going to be around. 2026 is a meaningless summer. The first time I personally, and I think that the rest of American fans should care about the results of a tournament, is the 2027 World Championship. That's a long way away. Be patient. Let these 2 new coaches and these new systems and these new players, with all the latitude that they've been given by their organization, give them the same latitude to figure it out as fans. I beg of you, because I'm going to be reading a lot of annoying comments online over the next 2 summers when we're losing a lot of games. That's okay. Focus on the process.
I'm actually going to push a little bit that on the women's side, because on the women's side, and maybe even a little bit on the men's side too, because especially on the women's side, you have a group of women right underneath who are world class in itself, right? Like we're talking about athletes like Avery Skinner, who are finally going to be given the opportunity to play for this national team, and Avery Skinner is arguably the best left side in the Italian league this year, right? Like you're opening up the opportunity for, like, with the depth pool that your teams have. Now, I'm not saying the expectation should be there to go in the VNL, but I think on the women's side, the USA is USA, and you guys should be expecting to win almost, the majority of your matches. So, like if the American women go out and go like 6-5 or like 6-6 at the VNL, I'd be disappointed.
I would not. I think that's totally fine.
Oh,
the first VNL with a brand new coach after an Olympics going 6-6 is totally fine. I have no issues with that at all.
Oh.
And if we go 6-6, if we were to make the playoffs at 6-6, that would be a bonus. We'd probably lose in the first round. If we don't make the playoffs, totally okay.
But what I'm saying is that I don't see you guys doing that, right? Like I'm already looking at what, even if you take away the majority of that roster that went to Paris, you're still bringing in some damn good athletes, right? Who are going to be hungry and want to go out there. So I understand not having those expectations, but I do not see that whatever American team that is fielded for VNL next year, I don't see them going 6-6.
Well, that totally depends on who that team is. We have no idea who it is. We can project all we want, but we have no idea what conversations are happening between both national team head coaches and the federation about how to strategize this thing. This is a long-term process, and our results there is no tournament where our results matter until the 2028 Olympics.
I'm excited for it though, because you are opening up a brand new era of USA women's volleyball.
Very exciting.
So in so many different ways. We're going to touch about it, but like at this time, you've got a new coach, a a new program altogether. Like, you're going to be graduating so many of these athletes at the same time as 2 pro leagues are building. Like, things are excited
For sure.
now
And it's why it's very important, like we said with the men, that the women's national team coach is a full-time role.
Yeah.
Because this coaching staff, whoever Erik Sullivan chooses to place on his coaching staff, is going to need to be very, very plugged in to all the volleyball that American athletes are playing over the next 3 or 4 months, including League One and the PVF, obviously, but we've still got plenty of athletes abroad, and it's going to be really important to synthesize those performances to get kind of a baseline of what we have right now. And there's a lot of reason to be super excited. Youth, new energy, the ability to play without the burden of expectation for results per se. Like, the only result that matters is not getting relegated out of VNL, and I don't think we're in danger of that on either the men's or women's side. Yeah,
there's no more relegation in VNL,
isn't there?
Oh.
I thought it was the lowest ranked team, and then the highest ranked team in the world rankings comes up the following year.
Oh, maybe. Oh, wait, yeah, it was just this past year that there was no relegation.
This was this past year only. So all we need to do is not get relegated from VNL. I'm not concerned about that, especially not on the women's side. It's very exciting. It's a great chance to see new athletes play at this level for the first time. And as we know, Everett, when you get new players or new teams at the top international level for the first time, it is different. It is different. That level is completely different. Ask the Turkish men. VNL last year is a great example. The level is different, and it is
forget that one.
Right, me neither. It is okay. It is okay for us to throw a bunch of 24 and 25-year-olds on the men's and women's sides into this VNL and go 5-7. That is okay with me. I want to see new athletes get in there. I want to see them get experience.
I understand. Once again, I understand that sentiment on the men's side, but on the women's side, I just don't see it. Like, your women are far too talented. There's far too much depth in your program, right? Like, this. I feel like you're pushing back on this. I'm like, this isn't a slight to you guys. I think you guys are really you guys are really good, and I just don't see your teams doing that bad. But I'm so excited for this upcoming year because I feel like we were robbed of, like, the last quad, which wasn't a quad. It was 3 years, not 4. We were kind of robbed of that true reset year. And these resets years is why you find those gems, where you find that next generation, where you find about those players coming up, because all the stars take some time off, and it allows kind of that undergrowth to have a little bit of chance to see some sunlight. And I'm really excited about it. There's a lot of new things happening out there, and primarily on the USAV side of things, and luckily I think you and I are kind of prime position to get a good spot right up front to see the show.
I believe we are. Excellent point about the actual reset year that we're going to have here for the first time really since like 2017, I would say. And 2017 was a weird year too, because then the VNL came into existence the following year and scrambled everything around. So yeah, this is going to be a very fun summer for storylines on the national team side. But we've got the answer now for the United States women's national team coach. Predictably, it came after the NCAA season was over, and now Erik Sullivan is in place. I'm excited for him. I'm excited to hopefully get to chat with him and see who he appoints to his staff, see who he calls to his preliminary roster for the summer, and we'll go from there.
Should we chat with Spraw?
Love to.
Want to reach out to him, see if he'll chat with us again? Actually, I know he would. He said last time I chat with him, he said we would. He would.
So okay, great. Then let's do it. Looking forward to that. All right. Anything else about USAV coaching, or can we jump into the last 5 days of volleyball since our last show?
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. I think we want to start here with some PlusLiga.
Let's do it.
We are seeing the standings here right now, and while there hasn't been much change in actually who's in the standings, to me, there's actually been a lot. Mostly because of yesterday's match between Warszawa and JW. Warszawa, even though they're not leading the league due to points, right now they have been on an absolute tear. And can we just start with yesterday's match right
Absolutely,
off?
please.
It was an absolute banger. Warszawa gets the reverse sweep. It would have been better had they been able to figure things out a little bit earlier, going to getting the full 3 points, but they get the reverse sweep on JW. Bolange coming in that third set, really changing things around, changing the tempo, and it changed that match around completely, 100%. On the other side of the net, the stars for JW were not there. Kaczmarek, terrible. For now, not great. Timothy Carl was a passing liability all day long. They did have Finoli side of them instead of Bentoniuti, but man, it was not a good look for JW in the second half of that match.
No, it was not. It is obviously important to point out that Bentoniuti did not play. So yeah, you had Juan Finoli, and I thought that somebody, I think it was one of our Polish friends in the Discord that pointed out what the Polsat commentators would say. That's the farther the set had to travel, the worse it was located from Finoli, which is pretty much true. I thought, I mean, he's Argentinian, so he's going to do some cool, like, improvisatory, like, fun scramble things, especially to the middles, but his location to Fornal was not good. His location to Kaczmarek was not good. So, like, obviously you missed something there, but I was really impressed with how Warszawa rebounded after those first two sets, because, like, I was acutely tuned into this game because I'm calling the Warszawa Zawiercie game this weekend, so I really wanted to watch this intently. And the first two sets were I'm like, why am I even wasting my time watching this? Like, this whole match could have been an email. And then they made wholesale changes. Yeah, Piotr Graban.
Good one. I like that.
Yeah, you like that? Whole match could have been an email. Piotr Graban makes wholesale changes. So he starts Linus Weber, which I don't hate. I don't love it against a great team, but I don't hate it in general. He's played well in
this year. Yeah,
he has. And Weber actually was not the problem here. It was actually Artur Schalpuk, who was not good at all. 8 for 20 with 5 errors, pretty miserable reception. And I was looking into it more, kind of 3 pretty rough matches in a row for Schalpuk. So in order to make the change to bring in Tobias Brand, they had to put in Bolange for Weber because of the foreigner limit. So it wasn't because Weber was playing poorly, but they had to move things around at other positions. They also brought in Yuri Semeniuk in the middle. And while Weber
emotionally,
yes, he did. Weber was not bad, but Bartłomiej Bolange off the bench was automatic. 10 for 19, 2 errors only, and 3 aces. And Semeniuk was a big emotional lift in the middle. And then it kind of allowed Kevin Tilly to right the ship a little bit. He didn't start the match super well, but he finished it much better. Really, really, really nice turnaround. Down 2 sets against the best team in the league, reigning champs, to make some serious changes and get that momentum shift you were looking for out of them right away.
Yeah, they were really fantastic in the later halves of that match. And you're right, like I was bored watching this match through the first two. Like
seriously, it was boring.
It was I was trying, and I was kind of like the first set I was only half keeping an eye on it. I was watching that terrible 40-point something set between Milan and Monza.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
That went on at the same time, and me and a few other people in Discord were like, all right, once this set ends, we'll head over to JW and Warszawa. Didn't end quickly. But I really found that Bolange, when he came in, he just is able to spread out that offense a little bit more. And Weber really likes, especially in the back row balls, he really likes trying to go underneath. Right, he hits that underneath ball, underneath cross court really well, especially for a big guy. But he's able to kind of cut that ball off in a way that it just goes underneath the blockers. Whereas Bolange, I think he likes a little bit of higher ball, and he likes challenging the hands. He likes challenging like the backside of the hands, and it really just opened things up, especially on his service pressure too. When you look at serving numbers, 3 aces to 29 errors for JW in this one. That is atrocious. Really not great on the other side either, 7 to 23, but that's still like a balance that I can live with at almost at like a 1-to-3 ratio. But yeah, over on the other side, you're almost looking at 1-to-10 ratio.
Yeah, it's
aces to errors. And that just shouldn't be happening, because especially on a team like JW, like you have Fornal, who should be a lights out server sometimes. Huber is a fantastic server from the middle too. So you've got some guys who should be able to put some pressure on it, and it just wasn't happening yesterday for JW.
No, it was crazy. Huber had 2 aces. Marcin Walinski, like their 4th outside hitter who came in, had the other ace. Fornal bad from the service line. Kaczmarek bad just across the board. And I wouldn't say Anton Brema had a very good match. Well, he didn't have a good match serving. He was effective on offense, but he sprayed a lot of balls out of bounds. Yeah, serving from JW, not very good. Obviously, they have no serious concerns. They still lead the league by 2 points, and they didn't have their starting setter in this game. But I was more impressed with Warszawa's ability to turn it around. And like Peter is saying in the chat, this is something that we've pointed about this team all year long. Warszawa is the deepest team in the PlusLiga. They have the
100%.
best backup opposite option. They have the best 3 middle options, and they have the best 3 outside hitter options. And that it really, really matters to have a team constructed like that to have success down the stretch in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. Rob, I think they might be one of the best teams in volleyball right now. I think they might be the best team in the PlusLiga, right? They're riding a 9-game winning streak in the PlusLiga.
Yes, they are.
12 games overall when you count the Champions League as well. So this is the hottest team, and we've seen some really good streaks in the PlusLiga this year. We saw Lublin start, then Norvid was on a bit of a streak here, but 9 games is about as good as it gets right now. And Warszawa is rolling. That depth just looks so good on them right now. And
shout out to Jan Firle as well, who I think deserves a lot of credit at the starting center spot. Him and Damian Wojtaszek, their libero.
I was going to say.
He's good, and he doesn't get a whole lot of shine. So excellent job to these guys. I was excited to watch them, and I'm very, very excited for them to take on Zabierce this weekend. I mean, I couldn't have picked a better game to be on the sticks for. Like, that's going to be electric.
No, that's gonna be a good one. I'll be waking up early on that. I'll give you a bit of a pregame pep talk up.
Let's go
for that one. But yeah, it's gonna be early for you, eh? It'll be 7:45.
My time is early, but
you're gonna go to bed early on Friday night.
I will. I'll be ready to go.
Let's go.
Speaking of 5 setters, the other big one that yesterday I was not expecting to be at all dramatic, and then all of a sudden can we call it? Rovia is officially a dumpster fire.
Oh, I mean,
they're a dumpster fire.
They have to be they have to be an actual dumpster fire.
They're a dumpster fire.
They
bright
cannot
red and white striped dumpster fire.
They just cannot figure it out at all. And
I know Bartosz Bednarz is hurt. Okay,
but yeah,
you went down 0-2 to Barkom Lviv. This team is not good. They're not good, man. And you were up 10-7 in the 5th and blew it, Rovia. Dumpster fire. I'm honest. I'm legitimately surprised that Tomas Samovo did not get fired today.
Well, here's the thing: is that I have no more allegiance to him, right?
That's true. You don't.
I was a Samovo guy, tried and true and once again, no hard feelings. Like he's leaving Canada. That's the thing. But I no longer have to be on his side, right? And now I can point out how it's looking like he's doing a terrible job in Rovia, which surprises me because I would have rated him really well up until then. I wouldn't have expected this.
No, but somehow the Rovia franchise always manages to do this. They take whatever the right decision is and they make the opposite of that. They create rosters that are somehow less than the sum of their individual parts. Like it's really kind of remarkable how consistently they fumble their own terrific resources. You cannot be losing to a Ukrainian team. Under no circumstances is that acceptable. And they've played so many 5-setters this year. This is the last one that I expected that to be the case. And Clayman Chable was the only guy with a pulse. He was very good, despite not very good reception, but they were chucking him a lot of balls. Stefan Boyer off the bench, not good enough. Adrian Stashevsky starting at full-time outside hitter. I don't know what we're doing there. Is Vashina hurt too? Like
he's not on the roster here.
Unbelievable. This is a disaster.
Roprick got pulled after 2
disaster
as well. So yeah, once again, Rovia. I mean, we'll see who they bring in next year because like this year, like you're not making it past this. You're not making it to the semis.
Oh hell no! Yeah, no chance.
Like, I don't even know if like Olsztyn is on a tear. A few weeks ago, like a month or so ago, we were talking about Olsztyn getting relegated.
Yeah, Olsztyn
now
is
they're
insanely
2 points
hot.
Now they're 2 points away. You have Gdansk there. You have Suwałki, who's been doing all right too.
Those teams are not that good, and they have nowhere near Rosovia's level of resources. Not even close.
Yeah,
so that metric. I wish we had it in volleyball. It's like budget to success ratio. Rosovia's might be the worst in all of volleyball. It's bad.
How do we start figuring out like why don't we know salaries in volleyball? Why is this a thing? That in every other sport we know salaries, and in volleyball it's so hush hush.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like what kind of mafia owns volleyball? Like
the ones that are doing transfers for the next season in November.
This is what I'm saying. Like our whole transfer situation, the whole economy around volleyball seems very sus.
Yeah, it's broken. Good job, Vasil Tupci in this game. He went 18 for 37, 22 points.
But I feel like Tupci, we've seen this time and time again.
Of course.
Where like 1 in every 8 matches, he just pops up to just go absolutely off and just get Ukrainian bear strength.
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on.
Right? Like
that's what happened.
He just embodies his own Patronus and he goes ham for a match.
Embodies his own Patronus. I didn't expect the Harry Potter reference on this week's show. I'm into it.
I've been playing a lot of a Hogwarts Legacy recently.
Dude, that game rules. I've played through it twice. Big fan. Really.
We got a Switch for Christmas. Well, Sam and I bought ourselves a Switch, and that was one of the games that we got for Christmas. So we've been playing a lot of that recently.
Love it. Rovia, you stink. Shame on you. What other games were there this week? Those two are both yesterday, so I watched both of them.
There was another 5-setter between Skra and Lublin. Lublin got another reverse sweep on Skra, and this one was a slugfest from the baseline. So much so that it actually set a record in the PlusLiga for the most aces in a match with 27.
27? Oh
yeah.
My God.
Skra went. I'm on the wrong set.
Skra 10 aces, 16 errors. Lublin 17 aces, 21 errors. What the hell sport are we playing here?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Skra won those first two. 8 of their 10 aces were in the first 2 sets, and it was the same thing. 7 aces for Lublin in set number 4 to force that 5th set.
Whoa, 6 for Leon. 4 for Kevin Sasak, 3 for Finn McCarthy, 2 for Tweenstra and Grozdanov. That's insane. 17 and 21 is ridiculous. I don't know if I've ever seen 17 aces combined in a match before, much less for one team. That is a remarkable exhibition of bombing from the baseline.
And
Wish
then
I
also
could have seen that. That would have been fun.
12 blocks for Lublin in this one.
6 for
led
Grozdanov.
Grozdanov with 6, Sasak with 4. Big match here for Lublin, and I think they keep on getting pushed into these 5-setters, but they're still in there. I mean, they're sitting in 4th right now, and that to me is appropriate, right? When I think about the teams ahead of them, like I think Zavierce is probably a little bit better than Lublin, and I think about Zaxa and Norvid behind them, and I think they're probably a little bit worse.
Yep, I think it's spot on, and. To frame it without digging too deep into our conversation from last week about rankings from 2024, because that really went fire. Speaking of Polish outside hitters, I'll just present Wilfredo Leon's stat line: 21 for 31, 52% efficiency, and 6 aces for 27 points. Don't tell me he's not the best Polish outside hitter and also the most irreplaceable Polish outside hitter.
Yeah. He's not head over heels the best player in volleyball anymore, but he's still damn elite.
It's unbelievable numbers. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's still out there balling for sure. So Lublin looking really, really good. Anything else about the PlusLiga here?
I think everything else this week was chalk. 3 points for Zaxa, 3 points for Norvid, 3 points for Zavierce, 3 points for Olsztyn. Suwałki 3-0 Gdansk was a nice result for them. I didn't watch this game. Those are 2 teams like right next to each other in the standings. Oh man, looks like Gdansk like swapped out pretty much all their players after the second set. 20 for Bartosz Filipiak. That's pretty nice. But yeah, I mean, all eyes this weekend. If you guys have a VBTV subscription, which you should, you better watch Zawiercie versus Warszawa Saturday. It's 2:45 p.m. local in Poland. That's 8:45 a.m. Eastern on Saturday. I will be on the call. First English commentary on the PlusLiga for VBTV ever, so that is cool. But this match is going to be insane. This match is going to be insane.
It's going to be a really good match. Yeah. I also think so. It's I won't have too many drinks on Friday night. Let's just say.
Same. Yeah, I need to.
You should be having tea and honey.
Yeah, I'll be ready to go on Saturday morning. All right. Anything else about Poland, or can we jump to?
No, I think let's jump over to Italia. Only over to Italia. I don't know why that there.
Interesting weekend here, and I think the from a storyline perspective, before we get into the matches, we got a relegation race, boys and girls.
Yeah.
We really, really have a relegation race. If you've been watching the show for a while, you know that I love relegation races. Grotatsalina,
Nothing gets you hard like a relegation race. Like,
Grotatsalina
really
is up to 10th. Not only are they out of relegation position, they've got a spot in hand. Grotatsalina 3-point win and 4 sets over Padova. They are 3 points out of relegation position, which belongs to none other than Champions League representative ERA Volley Monza, who did get donged, an extremely close donging, which we'll talk about yesterday. But Grotatsalina, and so I don't have the standings up here. Padova 13, Grotatsalina 12, Toronto 10, Monza 9. That's the point standings of the last 4 teams. This is a very legitimate relegation race, and I actually kind of love it.
Yeah, I mean, even if you like Cisterna has 15 points down to Monza at 9. Like, there's only 6 points separating 12 to 7. That's 2 matches. You know, like, so much can change, and we will have the whole second half of the series, the season. I want to start with Lube, 3-dogging for Verona, because this is one that I was excited. I thought there was going to be more fireworks, and if you're going to ask me if there was going to be a 3-dong, I would have thought it was the other way. But instead, it was an absolute masterclass by Lube of just how to play the game right. It was kind of like watching San Antonio Spurs basketball from the early 2000s.
I like that analogy a lot.
It was just they would serve really well. Like, they were really, really good at trapping Verona into high ball situations. Their blocking was incredible. 12 blocks in 3 sets. That kind of shows you what it is right there. Chinese was all over them. They couldn't do anything. And they stifled Nomuri Keita, who, while he has been on fire, he has kind of cooled off basically since we started talking about how good he was doing.
Our bad.
Sorry, Nomuri.
Sorry about that.
But they held him to only 13 points, and he was struggling. And
negative efficiency.
Yeah. Conversely, on the other side, Lube just looked really, really good. I thought Botolo was fantastic. He came through with a massive ace for them to close out that first set. Lepke was really good too. And once Lagumgia stopped stinking in up, they brought in Derlich. Things got a lot better too
we called for that last week. Like, it's okay to give Adis Lagumgia some time off sometimes. You have Derlich, you've got a lot of wings. Yeah, the thing that's most impressive to me here is breakpoint generation and how they set up their block and defense. Like, 11 aces to 15 errors is absolutely outstanding. And Verona is not a good passing team, but still, that they were doing something really seriously right. And then the 12 stuff blocks. So, like, you put all that together, you are trapping Verona into impossible situations. And then you just did a really good job. I assume they did a really good job scouting Nomuri Keita and putting the block up in the right situations, closing seams, running down high deflections. Like, that is clearly the best match Lube has played all year.
Keita loves to challenge the block, right?
Yes,
he loves to go at it. He's got really good vision, and he's got really good wrist action to kind of find his shots. But when you have the blocking that Lube has right now, and that is really going to have to be their bread and butter. Like, they need to play even, and they need to really rely on their blocking and their smart gameplay if they're going to be able to want to compete against Trentino and Perugia in any way, shape, or form. But they executed that perfectly on this one. And to me, this one just comes down to coaching, right? Like, this comes down to one team having a really good coach and another team having a stooge.
Stooge
Chev.
Getting aced 11 times is a lot. Getting blocked 12 times is a lot in 3 sets. I mean, 4 blocks per set as a team for Lube is ridiculous. That's just excellent game planning and execution right there with you.
And then also,
now, can they keep it up is the question, because Lube has been a roller coaster of inconsistency this year. Lineup, quality of play, all of it.
Yeah, I think that Lube as a team can keep it up. Right? Because if you're asking me which 2 teams are going to trend which ways, I think Lube is going to trend upwards, because this is a quality club that knows how to get, like, how many times since we started the show have we doubted Lube? over the course of a season? How many times?
Several, and they've won a couple Scudettos in that time.
Exactly, right? So they always, what was that? Something just spontaneously jumped off my desk. That was weird.
Oh,
Yeah, ghosts in my room. Yeah, but like how many times have we doubted them? And when you look at this roster, sure, it's not like a normal roster, but you still have an international caliber roster. You have got like you have Olympic champions on this roster. You have guys who have played at the highest level for a long time. So I can see that they're going to start getting it together. Now, is there still going to be bumps in the road? Absolutely, right? Especially when you have a young setter like Boniface and you're relying and you're relying on a guy like that to be the linchpin of your team. There's going to be some things, but I could see Lube really making a push here.
Yeah, it's not Checo anymore. They're not going to be top two, but Lube is Lube, and I do think their club's pedigree is worthy of some success. I want to talk about Grotatzelina because we haven't spent a lot of time talking about them this year for obvious reasons, but now that they are 10th in the league, not 12th, they definitely deserve some of our respect. Your boy, Danny Demyanenko, Everett.
Danny.
16 points in 4 sets in the middle is awesome. 13 for 16, no errors, and 3 stuff blocks. That is outstanding impact. And they're passing the ball pretty darn well. They are playing with a lot of energy, intensity from the couple games that I've seen. They took care of a pot of the team that I don't think is super good. They put a lot of pressure on Sedlacek and Mashulovic to score out of system. And I mean, don't look now. This team that has just been like an afterthought all year and was surely to get relegated, not so much. Good for Danny, man. I love it for him.
Honestly, I really like this for Danny. Like I'm really happy for him, especially since I think he had a pretty good career in France, and not many guys can say that they got to play for 3 years for a club like Montpellier, but him getting this level up into, and to think about it, that a few years ago he wasn't in the national team program at all. Like he was viewed as an undersized and like kind of a B guy, if that. And then last year he ended up, through the last quad, he ended up establishing himself as one of the best in our program, starting at the Olympics. And ultimately this is what has allowed him to kind of thrive here in Italy. And I mean, it is the second time this season that he has got 16 points. But this one was in 4 set, whereas the last time was in 5. So I'm really happy to see Danny succeed. Mostly because I got my butt kicked by Danny when he was only 16 and I was 18.
I also got my butt kicked by Danny and Stephen Marr. They're 18-0. They came down to Chicago and destroyed us.
So one of my biggest things is that because I was coaching, it was my brother's team, and I was coaching against them in our provincial final. We actually won a set off of them. We pushed
off Crush.
Off Crush. We
Congratulations.
We pushed them to 3 by short serving Stephen Marr, and he was getting so frustrated. And then we decided to go serve Lucas Coleman instead, who is one of our national beach champs and knew how to pass. So, yeah, I'm still bitter about
it's
that.
Not where.
Anyways,
but not where I thought this conversation was going.
Hey, you brought up Danny Demyanenko. Had to nostalgize a little bit, but yeah, Grotatzelina here has been doing a real fantastic job at just plugging away. And you know what that I love about this is usually when you see these bottom feeder teams, they've just got some big doofus on the right side who they're just going to chuck a bunch of balls to. And I completely don't mean it when I say that, because like Derlich has been that guy, or like Buchegar, like guys that I actually kind of respect. But you don't see that with Grotatzelina. They actually play a pretty even game style. Like they actually play a pretty nice style of volleyball. They're not just relying on having a big dominant right side and looking to score, which is kind of the style of volleyball that we're seeing from Monza right now. Like, especially now that you've gotten right, and like Rob, exactly what you said last week about Averill has completely happened. Now that you have to play Roars and Martila on the left side out there's no room for Taylor Averill on the court. So they're just not that much more dynamic in the middle. And both of them, like neither of them are really that good. Like this Milano team isn't that good, right? Matej Kaczynski should not be getting like 10, 11 points in the first set. And this was like, I think he got way more than that, because this was way before. This was like in the 20s before we made it all the way up to 40. But man, like this Monza team is tough to watch.
Yeah, they're not fun to watch, and they're reaping what they have sown. This roster is of their own making, and its weaknesses are entirely their fault, nobody else's. I will say this was a donging to Milano. It does not get any closer than this particular donging. I mean, 42-40 in the first, 28-26, 25-23. So it doesn't get any closer than that. Ferry Riggers is awesome. He's the best player on either team. However, I didn't watch this game. I was watching JW Rashava. It doesn't look like Monza was as bad statistically as I'm used to them being. It looked like Martila was pretty good. It looked like Roars was less good. It looked like Schwartz was good. It looked like the reception was like not totally terrible.
Everything was just so uninspiring, like especially in that long set. Like it was boring to watch. Like, and I'm mad that I committed myself to it so childlike and infantile, like just to be like, no, I'm gonna watch the end of this, and I'm mad about it. I want my money back, VBTV. I should be paying for VBTV anyways. I don't know why I still am.
Yeah, why are you still doing that? I don't know why I'm still doing that. I'm looking at more numbers. Man, Matej Kaziski reception extremely bad. Offense extremely good, I'll say. Looked like Yassine Luati was pretty good. Like what? Again, I didn't watch this game. What would you say like the differences were in those overtimes? Like just ability to steal a break point? Was that it? Like did Monza have?
No, there were so many errors. I only watched the first set. Anything after that, I was Warszawa. So but there were so many errors after 25 on either side. It was tough to watch. And there was so many, it didn't seem like there were so many tips. There's so many. It was just garbage. It wasn't
great idea. Tipping inside out after point 25. One of my favorite things in volleyball.
Just hit the damn ball. Yeah. Right. I tip after 25, and that's why I talk shit and I
don't. Enough said right there. Yeah. Piacenza beat Toronto. Who cares?
Yeah, I watched a little. Honestly,
why was it so difficult for them to beat Toronto?
The Piacenza stream is unwatchable. Sometimes.
Oh, in their arena?
Maybe it was the Toronto one. Whichever one it was. Oh no, it was the Milan stream. Oh no,
yeah.
The terrible. The announcer there was only the Italian one, and it sounded like a radio from the 50s, and I was not down.
Yeah, brutal.
But yeah, no, the Milano streams are unwatchable because I'm pretty sure they film it in 24 frames a second, and everything is just so blurry.
Ugh.
Right?
Gross. Really good match from Stephen Marr, looks like.
Yeah. Honestly, we should move on. Do you want to talk about the Modena match at all?
Yeah, a little bit, because I turned this on yesterday and watched the tail end of it. Trentino beats Modena 3-1. Daniele Lavia was the hero. He got the ace to win the match in overtime in the fourth to make sure they got 3 points. Let's see what's going on here. It was the best Lavia game I've seen in a while. 14 for 23, 2 errors only. Micheletto was predictably pretty good.
What about the other Modena news I sent you?
Oh, I forgot to pull in the asset. Damn. But
I should have reminded you. I thought about it today, and I was just like, "There's no way he's gonna forget that."
Yeah, I forgot. What's sad is that we're talking about Daddy Stankovic. Daddy didn't even play in this game, which was really disappointing. But he reached an all-time like insane career milestone, and I'm curious, like, how the hell did we even figure this out? What was it? 5,000 points in his career. 3,000, and this is SuperLega only, I assume.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so congratulations to Daddy Stankovic. 3,000 points.
I don't know when he did this though, because he hasn't been playing at all recently.
Not as much.
When did I send you? Okay, we can't. We don't have time to do a sleuth thing here. But yeah, congrats to our daddy.
Hell yeah, Daddy. Yeah, it was posted 2 days ago. 3,000 points for Daddy in Italian competition. So congratulations to him. We love him. So what happened in this Modena game that I didn't really catch? Vlad Daviskiva has been playing left side and is trying his best to hold it down.
Yeah. Honestly, like I didn't really watch it, so I think we should just probably move on.
Yeah, same. I did see the end of the fourth set, but that was it.
Yeah. Anything good on that?
Yeah, it was just Rovia winning it with an ace. That was cool.
Oh,
It was a rip right in the seam. It was perfect.
Love that. La Via.
All right, that's it for Italy. When's Coppa Italia? Like 2 or 3 more weeks? 25th.
Yeah, the semis are the 25th.
Okay. Very much looking forward to that.
Over on the men's, or not the men's side. Sorry, I apologize. On the women's side, there was one spicy one this weekend with Novara going toe to toe with Malonza and getting a nice little win. You know what, I was quite impressed by how did they win set number 1, 19-15.
1925. Oh, that must be a typo. Yeah, I see Malonza won at 1925 on the stat sheet. So this was Sunday. I was at the Packers game. I did not watch this game.
I watched this game.
Then I need you to explain to me, Everett. Is this number correct?
Yes.
Malonza is being credited for 21 reception errors, and they were only aced 8 times. You're telling me they overpassed or shanked 13 balls, 10 by Daldorop, 8 by Sila? 21 reception errors is disgusting.
I don't remember it being that bad. No. Like, they weren't great, but like that seems wrong to me.
21 reception errors is insane. I don't know if I've ever heard that number before.
How are they? Yeah, how are they doing it? But on the other side of the net, you had 13 reception errors when the other team only had 5. But I don't remember it being that bad.
Okay,
so,
that's weird. Maybe they're counting zero pass, like they're counting negative passes as errors for some reason. I think this is maybe a statistician problem, because that was a really alarming number that jumped out to me. Another some numbers that I really like is Novara's balance. 5 players in double figures, 23 points through the left side combined, 23 points through the middle combined, 26 points on the right side. That's outstanding.
I thought Bocio set a really, really good game for Novara. Like, the way that she spreads around the ball is really good. And this is the first time I really sat down and watched Tatiana Tolok. She's good, really damn good. She has an arm.
Yeah.
She has an arm, and she's dynamic, and she's athletic. Like, she doesn't necessarily have the typecast that some of the other athletes have. That like the other big monster right side athletes, but she's kind of more of like a Kira Van Rijk stature. But she has a really good arm, and she's got really good vision. And yeah, overall, like, I really just like the makeup of this team. Like, Lena Alsmeyer was an absolute stud in service team. She got 43 targets tossed her way, and she was passing really, really good. I really just like the way that this Novara team stepped up in this one. Overall. On the other side too, Milano, like, when you're like, if you have a Gona, you're gotta kind of live and die by her. She had 9 unforced hitting errors.
Yeah, that's not good.
And that is really where it's going to be able to kill you down the stretch. Now, like, in the 4th, I really thought that this one, like Novara was already up 2-1. I really thought that, like, Milano was going to be able to run away with it in the 5th. Like, they were trucking at one point, like up like 17-11. But Novara does a really, really good job at staying emotionally ready within the match, and they stayed emotionally close throughout most of it, and that's kind of why they were able to pull it out the end. Like, obviously, I think Milano, if you're going to have a 5-game series at the end of the season in the playoffs, I'm going to pick Milano, the majority of the time. But Novara, this team has really stepped up nicely, and I've really like the pieces that they have together.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the balance. I love seeing 5 players in double figures is incredible. The only other thing I wanted to bring up here, Everett, your girl, Canadian Anna Schmreck, debuts with Milano. She got a little bit of court time. What did they sub her in to do? Serve and like block, maybe?
Yeah, honestly, I must have missed those ones because I honestly don't know what she did.
So, like, for people who don't know who Anna Smrek is, she is Canadian. She is 6'9", which I think she's like what
She's the tall
207, I think, which is
207, 209, something like that.
completely insane. So she played at the University of Wisconsin in the NCAA, just finished school in December, and made the jump to Milano. Actually, the exact same path that Dana Retke made about 2 years ago. My question to you, Everett, being that you're Canadian, is what the hell position is this girl going to play? Because like she's been playing opposite for Wisconsin, but because the substitution rules are so friendly there, they would take her out of the back row all the time. Like, what is she going to do at the next level when she has to either play in the middle or play opposite 6 rotations?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, and it is something that does worry me. Now, I have watched her for a long time, and I've always been very impressed by her work ethic and everything. But I mean, we've had fantastic athletes, Canadian athletes who are really, really good at the NCAA level who have never really panned out internationally just because of this. Because they, I think Tabby Love is the one that comes to mind who dominated for UCLA, but she wasn't a 6 rotation player and then really struggled on the national team over that. So I honestly the reality is that we don't need I don't need an opposite battle on Team Canada right now. I need some stability in the middle. Like if I have Shrek and Maglio,
nice.
There's
That's
no
not
way.
Not going to be the first or the last time that somebody says that.
Yeah, there's no way that's not going to be a thing. And yeah, anyways.
Oh, awesome. I agree. I think she needs to go in the middle, at least for Canada, because
Smrek and Maglio. If we have Smrek and Maglio in the middle, plus with the way that Bree King runs that middle and runs that offense, all of a sudden we become maybe one of the better middle teams in the world.
Yeah, that would be sick. Obviously, Smrek will need to do some serious work in the blocking game, but you can't teach 6'9". So
that's the biggest thing for me is that does she have the eye ability to be able to play middle blocker at the international level? Right, because it's such a different it's such a different blocking style and strategy in your head to be able to block as a middle blocker as opposed to I think the NCAA does a fantastic job at developing middle blockers because the offenses are so varied and it forces you to be so detail oriented in your eye processing, but it's not the same on the right side too. So yeah, I'm optimistic but also a little worried.
That's I think that's a totally fair take. I mean, the ceiling, the literal ceiling when you're 2 meters and 7 on a women's net is completely insane. I mean, you're 20 centimeters, less than 20 centimeters under the height of the net. It's bananas. So yeah, good job, Novara. Malonza figured it out next time. Also, very good point in the chat. Tatiana Tolak is a natural left side. And when Vita Akimova comes back.
Ooh. Yeah, but okay, so you always to me this is kind of like the Linsanity effect, right? And you always see this with teams where their best player comes out and every player raises their level by 10%. Everyone just does their job just a little bit better and everyone fills the role just a little bit better. Everyone's a little bit nicer to each other. And then the star comes back in, Carmelo Anthony comes back and it just ruins everything.
The Melo slander.
Oh, always with the Melo slander.
I don't hate the comparison, though. While we're on the women's side, we might as well acknowledge that the CEV Champions League is back. Yes. Women's week 5 is this week. There were a couple matches today. Fenerbahce actually kind of had to work to beat Budavani Łódź in 4. They got full points. But
it was a close one. Honestly, there was a moment, and the Discord erupted during it where Budavani Łódź got a ball back, tied at 24s, with a chance to be able to side out, and you could just tell that it was one of the, everyone on the team was excited, and I think the libero in the middle fumbled with passing the first ball, and then the set was off, and then they just kind of chucked it over. And as soon as that happened, the entire Discord just erupted and being no, everyone was pulling for them. But you know what? I will have to say though, especially in that first set, they came to play. They came to absolutely they came out firing. The home crowd in Łódź was fantastic. They had the ultras out there. They had the drums. They were going away. They were really balling out there. Stijek got the start. She really wasn't getting the job done. They brought in Vargas, who's just
she's incredible.
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 But you know, I was expecting Vuj to die away. I mean, I think it was what, like 24-9 or like 23-18 or something in the fourth set, and they came back nicely, like pushed into it. It's going to be really interesting to me, Rob, what happens to the Torunliga over the next little bit. Because when you look at the roster of these two teams, when you look at who Vuj has, it's none of the top Polish girls.
No,
right?
none.
You're not talking about any of the Polish internationals. You're not talking about anyone who plays VNL. You're talking about all like the second level, the second tier players in Poland who are on these top teams.
The only players I recognize are Terry and Weonwu and Jelena Blagojevich, both of who are foreigners. Like I don't recognize a single Polish name.
So if they're out there getting this experience, like that league is just going to grow, and that team is just going to get better, right? Like they're putting the resources in, and I think they're getting benefits.
Yeah, respect to that. Fenerbahce news, by the way. I can't remember if we brought this up on last week's show or not, but Arina Fedorovtseva is back in the building. She is back in Istanbul. She's training. She had a contract dispute with Shanghai and China, and because apparently they weren't paying her, so she pieced out. Unfortunately, now Shanghai is being difficult about it and is saying that like they didn't do anything wrong and the player needs to come back and play for him. So she is in Istanbul as far as we know, but she is not on the roster yet. And I mean, Łódź is gonna make it out of pools in Champions League. They're what 3-2 with 8 points. So I actually think that they're clinched with one game left to go. So good for them. I do think they belong in the top 8 as the second best team in Pool D. They're probably not going to beat Fenerbahce, but I like your point about the Torunliga and a lot of teams that are kind of greater than the sum of their parts.
It just felt like this one was where, you know, they're starting to get into those situations where they're starting to compete, you know, and their top teams are starting to see maybe a little bit of daylight against the other countries' top teams. But you know, we know the resources are there in Poland, and I think all of the success that we've seen from their team over the past little bit is only going to get bigger. Also, just a slight note, you talked about Arina Fedorovtseva being not available, but changing teams on the men's side. There is one player who is available on the market right now, and I know you don't like talking about midseason transfers, Rob, but this one is a possibility because Yoandy Leal has been released from his Russian club and is now available. Yes, Yoandy Leal was playing for Lokomotiv, and there's been a bit of drama because Plemen Konstantinov was pretty public in saying that he's been a little bit disappointed in Yoandy Leal's offensive performance this season. You know, he was brought in to kind of swing and to score, and he wasn't doing that at a clip that Konstantinov liked, so that there was apparently an amicable leaving, apparently, between the clubs, and now Leal is on the market for business.
That is interesting. I mean, mid-season transfers matter when it affects the current season, and that very much does. You know who needs him is Monza.
But you think?
It's not going to solve any of their reception problems, but at least they have somebody who can score. And they're down and outside hitter after Zaitsev left. I think it makes a lot of sense.
I actually kind of think it makes a lot of sense too. If you're Kachopa, as soon as you hear this news, you're on the phone. You're hitting that WhatsApp, right? You're getting in there. And here, baby, like, come on, baby, I got some brigadeiro and pão de queijo over here. Come to Monza, right? Because you got that Brazilian connection. You can just chuck it up to the outside.
I like it. However, our boy Jem in the chat says the rumor is that he goes to Halkbank in the Turkish league, and that is where a lot of like mid-season moves have been this year. Is to the FLR League. So
it's interesting how the FLR League is really loading up, eh? They're
really next year.
Yeah, they're really going for it.
Anyway, back to Women's Champions League. Vakif Bank donged Kalsit Kamnik. There are 8 other games of the next 2 days. None of them look good to me on paper.
No. What, you don't want to watch Zajabasha against Tent?
No, I do not. Corneliano against Mladost.
Maybe Stuttgart against Bielsko-Biała.
I don't hate that one. And
that one I think
Schwerin versus Paris St. Cloud, I don't hate either.
Ooh, but that one, yeah, depending on how many Russians Paris St. Cloud has this year. I actually don't even know who's on their roster whatsoever. So
me neither. as usual, if anything interesting comes up, we'll talk about it on next week's show. But I don't really anticipate it.
Possible upset potential: Maritza Plodiv and Zhezhov, just because Zhezhov curse over there. I don't even know if it applies to the women's team, but
is the Rovia curse applied to the women's team? Well, only one way to find out. People are talking about Fedorov Tseva's issue with the Chinese contract. I have a take about this. Why is anybody still going to China? Why are any foreigners still going to the Chinese league? They make fundamental, cataclysmic, massive changes in everything that they do, like on a whim. They change their entire league schedule at a moment's notice. They change their foreigner limit rules at a moment's notice. They change everything about how everything works, and then it just screws over people that show up there and are planning to play. And then this happened a couple years ago. All of a sudden, they were told that there were 2 foreigner spots. All of a sudden, there's 1. Or this year, the schedule completely changes. Like, stop going to China, especially when you're Arena Fedorov Tseva. What are we doing? It's not like she's not getting paid well enough at Fenerbahce.
Money.
It's not like there's no money in the Turkish league. She's the second best outside hitter on the planet.
True.
Don't waste your time in China, for real. Quick break before we jump into some other things. Everett, I got to be honest. I don't know if any VBTV promo codes are still working. There have been a lot of people. I think many of them may have reset with the new year, because people have been trying to pick up VBTV subscriptions with our code VS10, and I do not know if it works. So try it, y'all. If you're trying to resubscribe to VBTV, try VS10. But I think that it might be a problem way above us with promo codes not working. So if it doesn't work, we apologize.
Sorry.
Not our fault. Nothing we can do about it.
We don't know anything about this.
Nothing. What we can do is talk about Daddy. Somebody in the chat earlier was like, who's this? Who's Daddy? Who the hell is this? Why is he such a big deal? Well,
he's a
great question. The answer is we'll just look at him. Look at Daddy Stankovic, and welcome to the Where's Daddy segment, where I poorly Photoshop Daddy somewhere in the show.
Poorly.
It depends. And you'll have to try and find him. And when you find him, what you have to do is comment the timestamp of where he appears in the main YouTube comment section after the show is over, and then you get a shout out the following week. So last week we were wrapping up the women's NCAA. Everett, if you look really closely, just to the left of the trophy there, on the Penn State Nittany Lions with the nice long hair, there's Daddy. So we had a lot of comments on last week's show. Not very many of them were about Daddy because everyone was so mad at our top 10 lists. But Warrior Cat says Daddy's a Nittany Lion now. And yeah, it looks that way.
Yeah. Love that for Daddy.
Yeah, keep an eye out for him. Daddy really likes to play for a lot of different teams. That's usually where he shows up.
He really gets around. What a slut.
I mean, look at him. Can you blame him?
He's like that player on the beach who has a new partner every tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, God, not that you would know anything about that.
No, I sure wouldn't.
Have you ever played a beach tournament? Like a twos beach tournament?
Doubles? No, I never have. I played grass doubles. I think it's the worst thing ever.
Grass doubles wouldn't be fun.
No, it sucks.
Grass, I want 3s or 4s.
Yeah, well, doubles in general sucks, but grass doubles especially sucks when
beach
all you have to do is just play 3s and you have a substantially better game of volleyball. Anyway, beside the point. Let's talk about Japan, Everett. Let's talk about the SV League.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple big ones. Best 2 teams in the league, Osaka and JTech, played twice over the weekend. And by the way, the SV League is on Volley Station. I finally found, or I didn't find it. Shout out to Kenny Diaper, our Japanese-Australian superstar in the Discord.
Where? Send it to me.
It's in our show notes, dog. I put it in there hours ago. So Volley Station for the SV League exists. I'm actually going to put a link in the live chat right now. It's a weird link, but make sure you save this, because if you want SV League stats, these are so much better than the website. The only thing is that the translate doesn't work for the names, but you got to just know the jersey numbers. It gets a little tricky. What I can say, though, is that in match number 1 of the weekend, Osaka beat JTech 3-1. Yuji Nishida had 20. Miguel Lopez had 18. Thomas Jeschke had 16. And Jeschke in particular was awesome. 54% efficiency, 15 for 24 with only 2 errors.
Yeah,
JTech, an alarming stat line for the JTech Stings. 0 aces to 14 service errors in 4 sets. How is that possible? With like you have Miura, DeFalco, and Lucarelli, and you have 0 aces in a 4-set match?
Yeah, I honestly don't know. That team, it seems like they should just be so good, and they just kind of bumble about. I don't know. Like I want to see just more emphatic wins from them. Like they should be blowing teams out of the water. We're like the reality is for me is that like Miura really drives his team offensively. TJ does everything else, and Lucarelli has been kind of shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I know he's missed some games, but I mean, he knew what he was signing up for playing in the SV League. It's a 44-game regular season. If durability was a concern, then this was not the place for you to go this year.
No, I mean, like the way that I know Iroh is a little bit of a meme within, but he's kind of been doing a good job for Osaka.
He's playing, man, and he's big enough that he can touch balls in the block and score. And like, what did he have 5 points this game? I'm
not saying, did he?
If I'm looking at the right guy, yeah, I think so.
No, you're that's Yamauchi in the middle who had 5 points.
My bad. I was thinking of match number 2 of the series. I think he did have 5 points, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, I can't believe that a JTech, that roster, the way it's fielded, can produce 0 aces and 14 errors in a 4-set match. Osaka's really good, though, man. They are really, really good.
To me, the big difference is what they have in the middle for Osaka. Like, I know that you have Moriyama Go on JTech, but you have Yamauchi, who's like, he's really, really good. And really our guy, like, I don't know if he's like one of the best middles in the world, but he's very dependable. He's very solid. He gets the job done. But then you have the young guy too. I just missed my page, but Everett Rally, the guy with the fro.
Oh yeah, Larry Dan, they call him. He's pretty good.
Yeah. I like him. He's long, he's springy. You can tell that he's a little bit raw, but I really like him paired up with Yamauchi because he has, like, I think he's going to grow quite a bit. And I think his ability to make some clutch plays, and he's actually been he's been like the 5th best blocker so far in the SV League. So his ability to make clutch plays has really, really done some good things for him.
Respect. They have Yamamoto at libero too, who's awesome.
Yes.
Match number 2 of the series was on Sunday because they play back-to-back nights. Another 3-1 win for Osaka. JTech took the first 28-26, and then Osaka kind of never looked back. This is a Miguel Lopez game, 22 points, 44% efficiency is incredible. Yuji Nishida actually didn't even play the 4th set. I don't know if he got hurt or sat down for one reason or another. Thomas Jeschke was good again, 14 points on 42% efficiency. JTech was better, still bad from the service line, 2 aces, 21 errors. But they did get a really good Lucarelli game at 61% efficiency, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I mean, Lucarelli has really struggled, but still, like, this is 2 really big wins for Blue Tian. And I've been told that there's actually 3 different teams in Osaka, so we shouldn't call them Osaka.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. My bad. I'm looking at the standings now. Yeah, the Osaka Blue Dion, formerly the Panasonic Panthers.
Yeah,
the team
exactly.
we're talking about.
So I was surprised. They actually have a pretty small stadium. Apparently, they're building a new one because the SV League it falls underneath the requirements for the SV League. But yeah, honestly, this one was pretty fun to watch. I ended up just turning off the commentary because it was pretty useless anyways.
They have English commentary on all these games?
Yeah, guess who it is?
I have no idea.
It's these games are some of the most watched games on VBTV.
So I assume somebody is putting himself on a lot of these games?
But yeah, honestly, like, if you guys were like, I think the Japanese league is really fire to watch. To go over and watch on VBTV.
Oh, somebody put in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, I saw something about this. I wasn't sure like the extent, but Nishida took a ball to the head. He got smoked down the line, and like it affected his hearing in one of his ears. So
yes.
Definitely hoping that he's okay and can rebound from that. I mean, getting hit in the face happens, but if you've got like potential hearing issues, that is no joke. I especially would know about that. So they hoping the best for him.
Yeah. 100%. Some other results there. Suntory taking down Torre. The Thunder. Sakai has really just been struggling, man. Like,
Yeah, they're not.
I
good.
thought I was excited for them with Sean Vernon Evans and Luciano Polanski. They're one of the best passing teams in the league. We just can't seem to score out there. And then the Wolf Dogs getting a game against Nagoya.
The Wolf Dogs are Nagoya, aren't they?
No, wait.
Who do
yeah,
they
sorry. The Wolf Dogs are Nagoya.
Oh, they beat Nagano. They're close.
Nagano.
Nagano.
Sorry.
That's all right. Nagano is not good. They are 9th in the league. I will
Sorry,
say
that's
Nagoya, the Wolf Dogs, they're up to 2nd. They jumped over J-Tech because, well, actually, they're dead tied. But J-Tech just lost 3 in a row.
Tough look there by the Stings. Figure it out, bud. You guys got some of the best jerseys in the game, but
both Blue Dion and J-Tech, both jerseys are cool. I'm into the all blue. I'm into like the gold and red. I think it's good. They've got good looks, pretty good brands, fun style. Like it's very like visually appealing watching the SV League.
Yes.
All right. Last but not least, Everett. We kind of alluded to it last week, but I think it's worth breaking down in a little bit more detail because this is a very, very big week in the United States of America for professional volleyball. Because not one,
it's
two.
Historic.
It's historic.
Really.
It's
historic.
This is a historic week. There are 2 women's professional volleyball leagues kicking off within the United States this week, within 1 day of one another. Go back last week to hear us talk about it on like more of a macro level. League One starts tomorrow. The Pro Volleyball Federation, their 2nd season starts on Thursday. But rather than like the macro discussion, I kind of want to talk about some of these games and some of these teams because we're gonna be following along with this. However, we can possibly find ways to watch it. We can start with League One and talk about PVF in a second, but we're going to be having our eyes on this both from a macro lens and just like actually watching the volleyball and seeing like what the hell's going on the court here and who are these teams and who are these players. So League One this week, match 1 tomorrow, Atlanta versus Salt Lake, and then the league is off and running.
This is where we're going to need some of our American people. So maybe you should just go and invest in ESPN Plus there, Rob.
I might.
And you can just stream it on the Discord.
I don't know about that, but I'm just to keep myself out of trouble, but I might. Yeah, there's some other things on ESPN Plus that I could probably use in my life around here.
Just make a burner account for the stream account.
Great idea. So League One Atlanta, again, I hate the branding in this league. They're just going to be referred to by their team names. So Atlanta just this week picked up Rachel Fairbanks from Pittsburgh, their setter, who's very good. This is Kelsey Robinson Cook's team. This is
Danielle Coutinho.
She played at Purdue. Mackenzie Adams played for Corneliano a while ago. Maddie
Beatrice Negretti.
Yeah, Beatrice Negretti. She's an Italian libero. She's got some experience. Iga Vasilevska is a Polish middle whose name I recognize. Who else? Marta Beckis is an Italian setter. I don't know who's going to get the start there.
Yeah, Vasilevska has been at Chemic Police for the past like number of seasons.
Yeah, which is probably the best club of all time in the Taron Liga.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. Oh, somebody says Fairbanks got signed because one of their setters got hurt. Which one? Let us know which one. Was it Beckis or Bug? So they had to bring in someone else. So Atlanta, they take on Salt Lake. Salt Lake is Jordan Poulter, Haley Washington. Those are the 2 names that jump off to me. And also Manami Kojima, like the Japanese libero.
Yeah, there's also Veronica Jones-Perry, who I recognize a little bit. I honestly don't know from what. Looks like she's played mostly in Poland,
in Brazil for a bit, then Poland.
In Brazil. She's playing with down there. Danielle Barton-Drews. I kind of recognize that.
Danny Drews, not to be confused with Annie Drews. She's a lefty out of Utah, a left-handed left side. That's played USA.
And she looks like she's played in Japan and stuff like that. So,
Corey Dixon is a middle who played forever ago for the national team. So this is Poulter and Washington for sure. What I'm really interested about, and kind of both leagues, the frame of reference I have for League One and the PVF, because Everett and I are going to try and pick our preseason champions. I'm looking at the opposite positions a lot. I'm really looking at the opposite positions because, like, watching the PVF last year, something that I think a lot of those teams struggle with is just the ability to score.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of why I'm a little bit interested in Salt Lake, because they have this Cuban here, Heidi Casanova, and like I don't know, like she's been the best opposite in like some European leagues
France,
before
Romania,
playing in the like peripheral leagues, but I guess we'll see how she does here in the USA. So, and also another the backup setter Tamaki Matsui.
another Japanese girl.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. So yeah, Atlanta versus Salt Lake. That is the first match in League One volleyball's professional league history. The following day, the Texas battle, Houston versus Austin, and I actually really like these two teams a lot.
This to me is the battle. This to me is like I think these are going to be the top two teams. I think the Texas rivalry that we're going to see here is going to be awesome.
I agree. These are the best two teams. I think Madison might be the third, and they play Austin on Friday. So I think we're going to get like a pretty tasty sample in week one of the league's history. Like, these two Texan teams, their rosters are pretty sick. Like, Austin has by far the best middle blocker group in the league, in my opinion. Asia O'Neal, Chako Bogu, and Molly McCage. Like, all three Texas alums, all three are monsters.
Austin, I'm going to say it right now. Austin's my pick.
Okay. Houston's mine.
Okay. Oh, I love that. Okay, good. I like that. We should go to a game or two.
Ooh, our friend Pixie in the chat says that they're going to be at this game. Congratulations, and we hope that it's a lot of fun. Definitely put some stuff in the Discord about it. Yeah. Any middle combo that Austin goes with. Zoe Fleck at libero, she's awesome. Logan Eggleston is listed as a left side. I honestly kind of want to see her on the right. Maddie Skinner is listed on the right, and I kind of want to see her on the left.
That'll be interesting. I think. Like, I think those two are two offensive powers. Like we saw Eggleston play for Texas a few years ago. But for me, the big thing is I love Carly Lloyd. I love watching Carly Lloyd set. I love watching her play, especially with Zoe Jarvis too. And I think that with like either Eggleston or Skinner you have on the left side, you're gonna have Alicia Gennari from Italy, who's just a lockdown left side
perfect passer. L2. It's such a perfect L2.
And then you have Anna Hawk too. And if like if she's three quarters what her sister is, then she's going to be outstanding in this league.
Not very many people are three quarters of what her sister is.
Yeah. But so I just think that when I look down all of these rosters, Austin to me, top to bottom, like even like Inui and Zoe Jarvis as your two liberos, that's disgusting. Like they have options here. I think they have the most talent and they have the most depth.
Zoe Jarvis, formerly Zoe Fleck, she is a stud. I like watching her play a lot. The reason why I have Houston as my preseason pick, they're similarly great top to bottom, and I think that they're built to be better on the right side with Jordan Thompson. Jordan Thompson is healthy and has like the caliber of season that we've seen from her overseas and for USA. Like, I think the peak of her career was the Tokyo Olympics before she got hurt. Then that one Malonza final series where she tried to put the team on her back. They lost to Caneliana, but she was amazing. If we get that Jordan Thompson, Houston wins the league no problem, and she will probably be the MVP, especially with Micah Hancock setting her the ball. So I'm very high on Houston for that reason, but I also love some of the international flavor here. Anna Pogani at libero is the starter for the German national team. And then Rafaela Foley and Christina Bauer in the middles. That's like French Olympian and Italian like Champions League winner. Like, and then you have Maddie Kingdon, now Maddie Richelle on the left is really experienced. And then you have Jess Mrzik, who the world just saw completely dominated the NCAA level. I really like the potential, especially with the foreign flavor and the foreign experience. And I can't believe I'm about to compliment Coach Massimo Barbolini, but I'm fascinated to see his influence on an American.
I was waiting to see what you were going to say about Barbolini for sure. Yeah, right. I mean that to me is a really, really interesting addition to all of it too. I think that this team, like you said, is going to be gangbusters as well. They're not like they're really strong in the middle too, though, right? Like when you look at how strong Austin is in the middle,
I love Rafaela Foley. I love her. I'm so excited to see her play in the States.
So yeah, I'm stoked. I really think Austin and Houston is going to be the rivalry, and I don't mind that one bit. Mostly, Rob, because Texas, by all metrics, is the biggest volleyball state in the U.S. Right? It
I think
has.
that's true.
I think it is. I'm going off by the seat of my pants here, but I've got you for backup. But I'm just going to go out and say that Texas is probably the biggest volleyball state in terms of numbers. So if you can get not only two clubs there, but two clubs there that are going for a championship and kind of hate each other. Not like let's just make it volleyball hate where it's like a friendly rivalry. Like we don't need gang wars on this.
It's all about relative.
But that's no better potential scenario than for League One to have a ready-made set in rivalry like that. That's going to matter from day one. If like I'm really jumping the gun on here, like this it all starts tomorrow. But that could be a fantastic situation for everyone involved, and I'm excited to watch it.
I like it a lot on paper, for sure, and I'm excited to watch that game on Thursday. 2 games on Friday, Madison versus Austin. Madison has Lauren Carlini. They have Annie Drews. They have Sarah Franklin, fresh out of Wisconsin. They have Claire Chaussee from Louisville. They have Anna Hall, who's played for the national team. I like this team. I'm curious to see, like, it's been a while since Annie Drews has played like a full club season. She's going by Annie Schumacher this year, by the way. She's taking her married name, putting it on the back of her jersey. So to clear up any confusion there. But yeah, she's going to need to put up volume. And that's not something that I'm totally convinced that she's built for. But obviously she's a terrific player with great pedigree.
I'm also a big fan of Dali Santana. Like I really loved her time when she spent with the Puerto Rican national team. I got to see her play quite a bit. She never beat Canada, of course, but you know she was always really interesting. So yeah, I really do think, like, when you said, like, to me when I was going through these rosters, it's the two Texas teams and Madison are the ones that are looking the best. Like, especially like with this outside core of Chair Sauce, we've seen what Sarah Franklin can do at Wisconsin, and potentially the veteran play there of Dali Santana, who's played, you know, all around the world in Italy and Tokyo and Japan. Like, that is a team that I think could possibly, like, if I see not an upset, but if I see one of the Texas teams not making it to the finals, it would be Madison being one of the other teams.
I agree with that. And last but not least, we've got League One Omaha. Again, both of the leagues have teams in Atlanta and Omaha, so we'll try our best to distinguish them. Omaha is basically a Nebraska alumni team, with only a couple exceptions. Laura Dykema, the setter from the Netherlands, is a nice piece. And then Adriana Fitzmaurice, I think she's a Stanford girl. Am I making that up?
No, Fitzmaurice is a Stanford girl. She won national championships back when Plummer was playing. Yeah,
that sounds right. And she's big. She's 1.98 meters. So, but you also have Jordan Larson. You have Justine Wong Arantes. I'm curious about the middle position. Lauren Stivrins, the only name I recognize. She played at Nebraska a couple years ago. Doesn't have nearly the international chops that like the Texas teams middles do, or even Madison's. Also, your girl Vicky Savard, Canadian girl.
Ottawa Mavericks represent Louis High School. You know what it is. Vicky's a good friend. Very happy to see that she's still playing. She's been getting on that TikTok tip recently.
Oh yeah,
been documenting some things. So yeah, it's been interesting to watch this kind of develop.
So League One kicks off tomorrow. There's 4 games this week. We'll do our best to find ways to watch them if you're not in the U.S. If you are in the U.S., it's on ESPN Plus, which you have to pay to subscribe to. Otherwise, we will get in the Volleyball Source Discord as always, and we'll try and figure something out for you.
Although, like, a lot of the tournament was on ESPN Plus, and we found ways to watch it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's a good sign.
Just get in the Discord. It is the best thing.
The Discord is independent of League One or whatever else. The Discord is the best thing, and there's a link in the description. So, got to join that. Last but not least, it's also PVF Season 2 Week 1. PVF games start this week, Thursday. San Diego and Orlando, I believe that logo is. Yep. There's a lot of matches here. There's 7 games this week. We're not necessarily going to go through all of them. A couple that I want to point out: Grand Rapids versus Omaha is on Sunday. This is the Omaha Supernovas, not the same team as League One Omaha. The Supernovas are the defending champs, and they beat Grand Rapids in the final last year. So that's a championship rematch, which is cool. And then on Saturday is the debut of the Indianapolis or Indy Ignite franchise, as they're calling it. So
I-
they got 8 teams this year instead of 7 in the PVF.
Omaha has a big first week because before that they have to take on Atlanta, and Atlanta was the regular season champs last
Right.
year.
This is the Atlanta vibe, not League One
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. So the two teams that that'll have regional rivalries there with Atlanta and Omaha will be going toe to toe in this one. And Rob, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm pulling for Atlanta in this one. I thought that last year they had the best regular season last year. They only lost 3 matches. They were really, really good all the way through. Kind of tripped up against Grand Rapids in the semis, and yeah, I almost said something else.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly, as I recall. But I assume that you have a lot of confidence in Leah Edmond to put up a huge amount of scoring volume, just like last year, because that's where it would have to come from for me.
Yeah, because you have Leah Edmond, and then you also bringing in Merritt Beeson, who was really fantastic. She was the #1 pick overall for the PVF, really good for Nebraska this year. Amalia Tuaniga as well coming
Mia in. Is her. She's nickname goes by Mia. That's Josh Tuaniga's little sister. She's a really good setter.
Yeah, I watched her quite a bit this year when she played with for USC. Her and Allie Battenhorst were really good. You got Morgan Hentz at libero, Jenna Rosenthal in the middle. I really just think that this team has the ability to push through this year and push for it. Also, they're bringing in Caleb Banworth, the former Olympian, as well.
As head coach.
Yeah,
that's a very nice pickup. I do like that. And they've done it before. I think there's value in having a little bit of experience in what it takes to be successful in any new league, this one or any other one. So a decent amount of continuity from last year to this year is good. Everett, I'm standing Indy this year. I'm going with the brand new franchise.
You're going with the brand new.
I'm going with the brand new franchise. One, it's because I know them the best. I mean, I went to college like an hour away from Indianapolis, and I know the Indiana volleyball scene real well. And I know a lot of the athletes they've pulled onto this team because there's several with Indiana ties. I really like Sydney Hilly at the setter spot. There's a chance that she might be the best setter in this league. I'm trying to go through it mentally. I think she might be. I really like Elena Scott at libero, who just graduated from Louisville. She's awesome. They also got Anna DeBeer fresh out of Louisville, who I really like.
I did see that, yeah.
Yep. I like Grace Cleveland. She played at Purdue, and she was in the PVF last year for Atlanta when they were good. I like Blake Muller in the middle, another Purdue girl. And then
Shampen Wakolo as well, played for Atlanta last year. She's pretty decent from Pittsburgh.
So yeah, they did a good job of they've got some new college talent. They've got a lot of girls with Indiana ties, and then a couple that played in the PVF last year for other teams. So I'm a fan of the way that this Indy Ignite team is built, and I've decided that because I have a little bit of connection with Indiana volleyball, they're my team. I'm going for it.
Fair enough. Okay. I like that. I think there's a few teams that are going to take a step back. I think Omaha won't be as good. Last year, they had Bethania De La Cruz, who they really leaned on. And then they had both Nia Reed and Steph Samity. Nia Reed's now playing in Brazil. Samity is one of the top scorers in the Japanese league. So they're going to be missing a lot of scorers over there in Omaha. Kind of the same thing for Grand Rapids. Last year, they really, really relied on Claire Chaussee and then Dimitrova from Bulgaria to really push them through, and neither of those teams are on this. So I don't expect, in my humble opinion of knowing very little about American women's volleyball at this level, I don't expect them to be as good. So maybe it'll be right. Maybe Indy will be the best, but there was so much up and down last year in the PVF that I'm excited to follow along in this year.
Yeah, there was. So game 1 is Thursday night. That's on Fox Sports 2, which is a TV channel in the States. But then after that, the Friday game, it looks like a lot of them will be available on YouTube for international audiences, as a lot of them were last year. So that's good as far as accessibility is concerned. Yeah, I'm really wondering, even more so in the PVF than in League One, I'm wondering about scoring ability. Out-of-system firepower, actual ability to take rips at the ball and terminate points and score. I think Leah Edmond for Atlanta is a huge advantage for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, she's been able to score wherever she's been. I believe she played for Creighton, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me. But she was, one of the top scorers in Athletes Unlimited when she started there. She was one of the top scorers last year as well. So Leah Edmond Edmond has been able to get it done wherever she's been.
She was Kentucky, another blue team.
Kentucky.
That's a good
Sorry,
guess.
that was the divide there.
Good guess. And I do think that it's important, Everett. At least I'll do this. I'll you can have your own take on the thing. I want to make it pretty clear about myself going into this arms race battle between the two American volleyball leagues. I have absolutely no stake in the game in either league. I have no connections to either league. I have no inside knowledge about either league. I know as much about what's going on here as anybody else does, and I'm just kind of watching and observing as a fan, just like the rest of you. So I have no connections. I'm not plugged in. I have no biases one way or the other. I have no idea of what's really going on behind the scenes. But to answer Peter's question in the chat, League One is a better on-court product on paper. They have substantially more Olympic caliber or internationally experienced talent on paper. So if I had to guess going in, the caliber of volleyball in League One is likely to be higher. But there's kind of like we talked about last week, there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more to the overall product of both leagues than just what happens when the ball is in the air between the 9x18 court, So there's a lot more to it than that. And I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of it this season. But I just wanted to put it out there that I don't know anything and I have no connections to either side. So I'm just kind of a fly on the wall watching it all unfold.
We should try to maybe find a time when there's some matches happening, both either in Atlanta or Omaha, maybe Omaha. Well, actually, who knows? But when there's two matches happening at the same time, we can go hit up both of them.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun because the in-person viewing experience absolutely matters.
Yeah,
and that's how they put butts in seats. I think the PVF did a very, very good job of the in-arena experience and in ticket sales last year. I think that's one of their biggest, probably their biggest success overall was ticket sales.
I was looking at some of the ticket sales numbers, and then comparatively, Omaha was averaging 7,000 fans a match.
Yeah, man, it was impressive.
PVF. The most attendance in a PlusLiga match this year was the Warszawa JW match on Monday, and they had just over 5,400. Right, so this is kind of where
everything's bigger in America, y'all.
Yeah, I think unfortunately sport needs to be way bigger to succeed in America. Because even if you think about lacrosse, what the NLL has done for years in selling out 10 to 11,000, it's still kind of a part-time sport for some of those athletes. It's still kind of a semi-pro sport. So it's you need to be putting butts in seats and making money to really succeed in America. But yeah, this is a good start. So we'll really see. And tomorrow it's going to be off to the races.
Yep. So we'll be covering it. We're going to add both League One and the PVF to the leagues that we talk about most every week. Other than that, Everett, I believe that is a show. Happy late birthday to you again, buddy.
Thank you.
I hope everyone enjoys their weeks. I mean, we're getting pounded by winter garbage in Chicago right now. So
it has just been cold.
Yeah, it sucks.
But no snow.
Oh,
it's the worst. It's the worst type of. So I was left out in the cold for a second on Saturday night coming home, and I guess I wasn't too happy about it. I don't remember, but yeah.
Birthday Everett in the freezing Toronto January winter.
Bro, usually my birthday is real low key because it's January 5th, so no one really cares about everyone's usually too far gone, and so everyone just bought me shots, and I'd been drinking for hours. So
sounds great. Was it that delicious maple whiskey we always drink up north of the border? I hope so.
No.
Was it Malort?
No, none of that garbage.
Why not?
Although
I definitely had some on New Year's. I'll put that out there.
We're definitely everyone who comes to Chicago.
100%.
Can we make videos doing Malort shots with athletes?
I actually had that thought last week. Is if we're allowed to, if Volleyball World will let us, or even if probably their teams probably won't want them to do this, but I want to give as many visitors to Chicago Malort as possible. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Everett's had it.
Can we go around the concourse giving Malort to fans?
I hope so. That would be like, because that's absolute media gold in the city of Chicago. We will 100% make that happen.
Can we start every broadcast in Chicago with a shot of Malort?
I would love that so much. Malort actually sponsored the Chicago Icemen VLA team for a little while, so maybe we can.
Okay, so you have the
re-engage
hookups. You know the rep. Like there's someone that
Someone
you
knows the
knows
rep.
The rep.
Yeah.
Malort.
Yeah, we'll make something happen. That's
I honestly like if we could get our first alcohol sponsor to be Malort, that would be hilarious.
that would be so funny.
We should host like a grass tournament or something the weekend before in Chicago and get Malort to sponsor it.
I like it. I'm here for it. All right, we're off the rails. Everybody enjoy volleyball this week. Join the Volleyball Source Discord, and again, tune in 2:45 p.m. in Poland. That's 8:45 a.m. Eastern time, Saturday. Zawiercie versus Warszawa, English commentary on VBTV. That match is going to be sick.
I wish there was a chat because I want to. I'm going to ship you.
There is. It's the Volleyball Source Discord. You don't think I'll be reading that thing in the middle of the match?
You better be. There needs to be some first level is that you need to slip in a Discord comment at some point.
We'll see about that.
Like it can't be blatant. It has to be good.
Okay, we'll see about that.
Second level is seeing something like something really specific that only the Discord would be talking about in the chat and addressing it on air.
Okay. All right, we'll see what we can do. Yeah, good excuse if you want to join the Discord, get in the PlusLiga channel. And
third level is I'm going to be messaging you words, and you need to sneak them into your broadcast.
What do I get out of all this?
The solid, feeling that you were able to get it done.
I did do that in
a legendary status
in a VNL game when I was calling VNL in Ottawa in 2022. One of my high school teammates sent me an Instagram reel that had something to do with mustard, and he was watching the game, and I slipped mustard in there in like the first set or something like that. So it's been done before.
One time during, I think it was World Championships qualifiers in Mississauga, my brother messaged me and told me to slip in ice cream sandwich, and I got it in there. Yeah, and I went and I was like, "Ooh, that swing was as tasty as an ice cream sandwich." And then I got Twitter mentions because of it afterwards too.
That's great. Pretty good. All right, so keep an ear out if that wasn't a sell to watch the PlusLiga match on Saturday. Then I don't know what it is. Thanks for watching the show. We appreciate you all. Everett's an old 33-year-old man now.
I am old, bro. Like seriously, like looking into like some old world championship stuff that I remember like yesterday, like watching Kim Hill dominate in 2014. I'd be like, that wasn't that long ago. That was 10 years ago.
10 years, dog.
You were still in elementary school.
Thanks, people. We love you. Peace.